Mr. Sanchez, appreciate it. Next, we have Brian Pitts, Justice to Jesus. Mr. Pitts.
Thank you very much to the delegation about the body. Try to deal with 4 issues very quickly. Dealing with legislature pre-K education reform. So what we've been doing that for years. Yeah, you've been doing a lot for years, not necessarily the solution. This is what I mean. If you look at Florida Statute 1003.42, that's required instruction. It has this large proliferation, a compendium of all these different things. You need to repeal some of that stuff. They don't even need it. I mean, it's a long list. It goes up to like double M, double A. That's first thing. And design a balanced course programs of, remember, home economics. They try to use life skills today. That's not even close to what home economics was when the boomers grew up and had it in school. That solves a major problem. Nevertheless, home economics, liberal arts, world religion, civics, and career vocation curriculums. That's primary instruction by grade 12. And I'll get to where I'm going once you put all those together. Laying aside the hype and the clutter and misguidance brought by the Student Success Act of 2011, which President Gates now does not agree with and found out that it didn't cut it, but also the hype and clutter that was in misguidance brought by the No Child Left Behind, the Race to the Top, and now the recent core standards. All this is confusing everything. You just adding stack on top of stack on top of stack. All this different curriculum is going all over the place. Well, get rid of that and refocus back on the needs and the interests of the toddlers and the teens for the future. Now, what does this do? It ends dropout rate, the need for remedial courses, encourages dual enrollment, because see, those topics I mentioned, especially liberal arts, will combine a lot of university stuff to where it will encourage them to do enrollment, and they can get these degrees quicker versus spending this money and staying there. So, well, you know, you have to take collectives and then you have to take your major. And no. If they can come out in 4 years with 4 degrees, let them. Don't make them spend money, because of course that's what colleges do. Now, if they do enrollment and you give them just those basic, as I mentioned, they'll be fine. This will restore the American dream for Floridians in commerce. Like, I really expect you to remember all that? Nevertheless, criminal justice reform, you know, they talking about restorative justice and everything. Well, that may not be for Florida. And you're talking about the state entities, DJJ and DLC. Y'all still got the problem of dealing with the county jails and the sheriffs and those that run them. They cannot keep up with the Florida male model standards. They can't keep up properly with the good and gain time. The county commissions, majority of them, including this county, has not even designated their own sheriff as the chief correctional officer, as required by Florida Statute 951. It's required. He cannot just be there. Now, I'm going to say this for a reason. If an inmate was thought about it, which they got plenty of time, they could sue the sheriff, Sheriff Campbell, as well as the sheriff of Polk County and Pasco County and Hillsborough County. All these have their sheriffs running their jails, and ain't no ordinance done by the county commissioners mandating and authorized that they be the chief correctional officer. 2 different things. It's already in law, the chief law enforcement officer. That's fine, that's in statute. But y'all said no. For corrections, if you're going to make it the sheriff, you must designate an ordinance. Not only that, for good and gain time, you must also designate an ordinance. Those counties I just mentioned to you, including the one we're sitting in, has not done that at all. It's just a free fall. They just there, doing what they want to. So when you deal with DLC and DJJ, you're still going to have a problem with the county jails and the county commissioners, because they have not followed 950, 951 Florida statute. What is that? That's the criminal components for the counties that they are mandated to follow. They are not following. Orlando Sentinel and Tampa Bay Times have done stories over and over again about how the county corrections are not being ran right. So y'all worrying about DLC and DJJ, y'all going to eventually shoot yourself in the foot when y'all try to get that figured out, and you end up with the counties. You need to do it together. No one has ever came up to you, even across the street, and said, no, we need to deal with them both together. You're going to sabotage yourself. You need to repeal some of these criminal laws. And I'll give you an example. It's still on the books. Allen v. Butterworth, the court struck the Death Penalty Reform Act of 2000. Those same statutes are still in the books. That was back in 2000. Those and other statutes where clearly the court has struck the particular statute, you need to repeal them. Office of Legislative Services says they cannot do it. Y'all have to do it. Because, you know, they say we'll do it in a revisor bill. They say we can't deal with stuff. The stuff the court has struck, y'all have to make the little repealer for. So right there, right itself, the Death Penalty Reform Act itself takes up hundreds of statutes. You need to do that. Okay, and I know I'm over time. I thought I was going to get done quicker, but I got stuck on the education. The sexual predators and sexual offenders, this may shock you. Don't you know on the books that minors can be messed with by adults? Parents consent. But here's the thing. What if the child becomes emancipated by the court? They're 12 years old, 16 years old. The court says, okay, I think you're well enough. We're going to have you emancipate you. You know what that is? They are released from all custody and authority from their parents. That does happen. That does happen. If the minor is pregnant, if the man or the woman decides to marry them, they're not criminal now. That's a statute. That's a statute. If marriage, the Romeo-Juliet thing, again, they could be 12, 16 years old. The law allows it. So these prosecutors going crazy, in other words, what I'm saying to you, every sexual predator and offender ain't that. What happens is they get scared because this false stigma. Okay, I'm going to kill it right here. Y'all know what a bar mitzvah is and a bat mitzvah is? They considered adults at 12. And Jewish culture had no problem. Remember Joseph and Mary? Yeah, I think people, you need to go to those sexual predator aspects and make very clear. And some of these men and women, school teachers, you know what's happening. Everybody, you're sick. Well, maybe not. Based on law, and the prosecutors are convicting these persons, and really they should not if they just tell them, look, here's the deal. If you're going to marry this girl, then you're off the hook. But if you're not, you know, with shotgun wedding, this is what they used to call it back in the day. You can. If you're not, then we're going to have to prosecute you because this is a minor. Or get the parents' consent. They're not doing that. They say, oh, you bad, bad, bad. And completely, not even defense is bringing up the arguments. And yes, these are defenses to messing with a minor, an adult messing with a minor. Hey, I think it's sick too, but it is there. Okay, now, with that, ethics reform I know you're dealing with, so I'm not going to even bring up the issue. But I will say this. You need to get rid of the Judicial Qualifications Commission. Committee on Courts in 2008 did a interim project. That is when the House was doing interim projects. And found out the JQC was actually just having a field day. They weren't doing anything they were supposed to. You need to do a resolution. I say this because you're talking about ethics reform, but ain't nobody said anything about full reform in the sense that the judiciary included in it too. No, it's everybody else but the judiciary. If you're going to do full ethics reform across the street, you need to do a resolution, get rid of that bad JQC, save yourself $900,000, and do a full ethics reform. I don't know why you're so scared of these judges. Okay, that first 60 drug, as you know, got off because he resigned. No, he should. Okay, with that, I think I'm going ahead and close because I went over more than anybody else. But thank you very much.
Wait a minute. How about economic development? Real quick now.
Okay, economic development. Okay.
Okay. Make it quick now,
okay,
Brian.
I'm making it quick now. You got me. Okay, here's the thing. Okay. DEO, you know, it's not cutting it. You need to make new policy where they give you a strategic plan of how they're going to fiscally conservatively, and aggressively attract the kind of business you want. It's simple as this. I want a new, whatever the company may be, to come here. It's easy to set up a plan if you get the right person. You see, Mr. Darling resigned. He couldn't handle it. Now we have a new secretary. This one probably can't. You need to make in policy them to make up a plan. Tell us how don't give us this OTAD junk anymore. Tell us how you're going to do this. In other words, you decide what businesses we want to come here, whatever it may be, Microsoft, Apple, whatever. We want them to come to this county. Specifically that. Okay, now, you give me a brainstorm plan of how we can get them in that particular county. And in each county, designate some kind of plan of each type of business you want there. It's that simple. It's not something hard. I'm not, just, oh, that's something hard. But you do need somebody that can deal with stress factor and is aggressive with it. Mr. Darling was not, and he had to camp out. So anyone who gets that position, they're going to be on a serious stress factor. The revenue issues, again, the Tax and Budget Reform Commission 2008, sat in panel, as some of you know. They sent y'all recommendations to generate revenue. You did not listen. Tax Watch does it every year. You did not listen. Now you're coming up with this Medicaid thing. You need to stop kicking the can. Call up Tax Watch, call up Mr. Vince, who was the chair, and says, look, we serious now. We want what your recommendations are. How can we generate some additional revenue and stop kicking the can? And I think with that, Mr. Chair, I may be done on economic development.
I think you've got
Thank
it.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Mr. Pitts. Mr. Chair.
Representative Williams, wait a minute, Brian.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna allow you to go on. I think you did a good job. I just want to say that a lot of folks in the audience may or may not know you, but you're probably one of the smartest individuals
I try.
in the Capitol.
I try.
And although your presentation may rub some people the wrong way, I think that what you bring up are some very relevant points, and I just want to be on the record to say that, because a lot of times we don't get the opportunity to say that over in the Capitol because you have gone over your time. But I want to say, just want to put that on the record, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative. Thank you all. Thank you.
Out to meet Barnes.